Hi, everybody. It's Alex, the Best Places social media manager. You're about to watch me interview Jeremy, a Best Places user, about his experience living and working in Halstad, Minnesota. Enjoy the interview. Great. So you want to kick us off by telling us your name and talking about where you're currently living?
My name is Jeremy Melting, and I live in Halstad, Minnesota.
Great. What about your experience in Halstad made you want to reach out to us for this interview?
We grew up in the area, myself and my family, and moved away after high school, went to a college nearby, and then from there, kind of chased careers around to several different markets. And all along the time, thinking that at some point we might come back to this area. And actually ended up being gone for 25 years. And we moved back here 4 years ago. My wife is from the area too, so both of our families are from here. So it was kind of a opportunity to get closer to family directly. And then we also had been researching some business ideas, and it seemed like it'd be a good fit to come here.
Great. What are some specific things about Halstad that you really like?
I have made myself some notes, so hopefully you can edit around those. But I coincidentally have 10 reasons why somebody should move to Halstead. And the first reason is we actually are home of the world's largest sugar beet.
Hmm.
Well, if you're not familiar with what a sugar beet is, it's an agricultural product. We're in an area referred to or known as the Red River Valley, where there's a lot of farming. Sugar beet is a crop that is harvested every year. And the one that we had commissioned by an artist is actually right near our downtown area, and it's over 22 feet tall.
Wow.
So with that being said, here's my reasons why you can't beat Halstead. Yes, my kids are making fun of me as they hear this, I'm sure. We actually have a very quiet and safe community. We're a town of about 600 people. And what's great about that is there are no stoplights, again, very quiet. Not being in a big metropolitan area, you can actually see all of the stars clearly at night. And anytime you go somewhere to shop, you're going to be standing in the shortest line anywhere, I guarantee it. Other parts, we've got some great businesses in town. We have one of the best hair salons here that carries Aveda products. We have a brand new hardware store and grocery store. We have a senior living center that is opening up a daycare component. We have a gas station. It's perfect. We've got a medical clinic as well. So it's just a perfect outlier. And really what we are is a telecommuter community. We're fit right in between, because of the location, by two major highways. We're right between Fargo, North Dakota and Grand Forks, North Dakota. And so about right around 45, 50-minute drive to either of those allow people to kind of unplug from the busy city traffic, as well as being able to have a nice, quiet lifestyle. Another part that's great about Halstead is the cost of living is definitely lower than the national average. So being close to some of those bigger markets, if you have a job that allows you to be remote, or if you have a business that's here, you're going to have a lot of more money to spread further, because I think the cost of living, what I looked up, was somewhere around 75% compared to the 100% being the national average. You want to keep going?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. We actually have really good recreation components too. So we're right next to the Red River. Quick unknown fun fact: the Red River is the only river in North America that flows north, and it comes right through on the border of our town. So we have a boat landing there. People kayak, actually a very popular place for fishing. We also have a couple of parks in town that have basketball courts, a community center, or opportunity for people if they want to have private events or host a wedding reception, things like that. So a lot of amenities that not every small town has that we do. Something else that I think is super important, especially if somebody is going to be a commuter or if they want to open their own business, we have, or we don't have, but there is an AT&T cell tower less than 2 miles out of town. So a lot of times when you're in these smaller communities, cell reception doesn't work. So if you're on the AT&T carrier system, you're set. More importantly, though, is the telephone company in town here is a co-op, cooperative, and they have actually some of the best internet that I've ever seen. And I wrote this down, starts at $54.95 a month for 75 megabytes, and it goes up to a gigabyte for $99.95 a month. And there's fiber optic to the doorstep of all the residents. So we've got a very cutting edge technology offering that makes it really easy to work from home or to be remote, or if your business, of course, requires that stuff. Other thing that people tend to want to know about is school systems. So we have an elementary, middle school, and high school that's a single site location that is all based in a neighboring town. It's about a 20-minute drive from here, and the kids are bussed over for that. And the school's been around for decades, and we've actually had some smaller towns consolidate into that. So it's Ada Borup West, fantastic community opportunity for people to send their kids to school. The other part I think would just be is just the type of people we have, and I think all small towns have great people, but for this being around a farming community, there are multi-generation families that have stuck around being part of those businesses or the other businesses in town. And so what happens then is the faces you see have been here forever. We've got new people that have come in, but you also have the people that have been here for 50, 60 years. And I think that creates a nice blend, and it provides a welcoming atmosphere that people really enjoy when they visit. And also it's a great benefit when we're doing any type of a community event that it's able to get everybody to come and partake and again, get to know each other. So I don't know if I actually rattled off 10, but that was just, those are a few that we had. What other questions can I answer?
Well, that's all very wonderful. But on the flip side of that, are there things about Halstad that you maybe could live without or wish were different?
That's a good question. I would say, not necessarily. I mean, there's certainly, yeah, I wish there was a Starbucks here. And to be honest with you, the commutes to these neighboring bigger towns, which would be Fargo and Grand Forks, is actually quite short and definitely not a commute like if you're in a Minneapolis or a Dallas area. So the traffic is very easy to handle. So you can get to those and get your fill of something that isn't here. But it'd be great if we had a couple of other things like that. But at the same time, it's very much meets all the needs that you have. It allows you to only have to go to one of those other towns maybe once or twice a month.
Great. I can kind of draw my conclusions about this next question, but would you recommend someone else move to Halstad?
Absolutely. In fact, we're accepting applications currently. We have a darn near almost free lot program, and there are 4 vacant lots that are available. And I would definitely, there's been people that have moved to town since we have, and some of them I know, some I don't. But I definitely sincerely mean that if anybody's looking for a small community option, that we would be, I would say, as good as any town you could consider, if not the best small town in Minnesota.
Great. So you mentioned that you were originally from here, but that you were away for 25 years. Where did you live in that interim?
I bounced around quite a bit. We were in Minneapolis, we were in North Carolina, Raleigh, spent some time in Palo Alto, California, as well as McKinney, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, and actually into Minneapolis and out a couple of different times. So yeah, it was definitely fun to see other parts of the country, and you kind of chase your career and see where it can take you. But at the end of the day, there was always that, it would be nice to be back where everyone was considered family and original friend set.
Yeah, totally. Which of those would you say was probably your biggest move, like in terms of cultural differences?
Wow. Probably North Carolina. Not that it was a huge difference in general, but just, being in part of the South, made some friends there that called me Yankee. So there's definitely a little bit of a difference there. That was probably the biggest difference, but again, it was enjoyable. We actually have some really good friends that we've met from there that we've stayed in touch with since. It's been over 10 years since we lived there.
Nice. That's great. Do you have advice for people who might be making a similar move in the future?
Yeah, I think it's a great, let me rephrase that. I think it's always a good plan to try and visit the location ahead of time. For myself, when I was employed and got relocated, I was able to actually go to a couple of different markets where they were opening additional offices. So getting the chance to travel there, spend a few days with your family, I think it helps you make a better choice to make sure that it feels right. And I think, if you can afford that, or if if the company you're working for will pick up the bill on that, that's probably the best way to do it. And certainly you can use the internet now and get a lot of information.
Yeah, great. That's really solid advice. Those were all my questions for today. Before we sign off, is there anything else you wanted to share?
Oh, you're editing this, right? Let me see. I feel like, did I go too fast when I was reading my list?
No, you were good.
Okay. Really, I probably was rattling amenities more than the people. Again, we have some really wonderful families that have been here, like I said, for decades. We have the telephone company has been here forever, the co-op. We have a really fantastic utilities company that take good care of us, and they're very involved with the community. It's just one of those things where when I'm thinking back to your question, what would I change or what could I live without? I think everything has its gives and takes, or there's something you would want to change. The pieces here that are in place are the right ones, and it's less to do with that and more just like, I wish I had another menu. I joked about the Starbucks. A coffee shop or a restaurant would be fantastic, but I'm not asking to change the people. I'm not asking to change the residents. I think they're wonderful, and it's what makes us who we are. And I think when people do visit here, that they'll get a sense of that, and that's why people stay here as long as they have. Even though we're a smaller town, our population has kind of hovered at the same mark for as long as I can remember. And I think that even though sometimes people come and go, the reason why we're always staying at that mark is we're kind of at a full capacity minus those 4 vacant lots I mentioned earlier. Okay. One other thing I can show you is I wasn't joking when I said you can't beat Halstad. So I will put out there, anybody that moves to Halstad, I will personally buy them a hat, as well as hopefully get a chance to welcome them. But we have some fun here too. And as I mentioned, the world's largest sugar beet, it is something you can find on Facebook or Google, but it's a really cool draw for people that come through and stop and take a picture with it.
Great. Wonderful. That's fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that interview. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when we upload new videos. You can also follow us on social to keep up with the team and what we're doing. All of that will be plugged in the description below. Make sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on the interview, or if you're interested in moving to Halstad yourself. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.